Hi there. In this video segment, we're going to work with the Cybex leg extension machine. Now, although they call it the leg extension, we're predominantly working from the knee extensors. That will be these guys, quadriceps. Now, why is it important to do a machine like this when you could be doing squats, lunges, and all kinds of other magnificent exercises? And that's because, like I've mentioned in other videos, and probably will say on all of these videos, is the direction of force. It doesn't change on these machines, and that's the one nice thing. They're designed pretty well. Not perfect, but they're designed well enough that you're gonna feel what you need to feel. And you're gonna get strong doing it. And you're gonna probably do it in the safest manner possible when compared to doing it in, let's say, a free weight form and fashion, where there's a lot more chances of things going wrong. It's not saying we shouldn't be doing things as far as free weight goes, but this is a really good starting point, especially for a beginner. Now, this also can work for somebody, let's say, going through prehab or starting prehab prior to a knee operation. This could work for somebody who maybe has come out of an operation and needs to work on strengthening those muscles. Could also work with somebody who's a cyclist that needs to work on strengthening those quads. Could work with somebody that needs to get stronger walking up steps and just walking, whatever it may be, right? But at the end of the day, it works this stuff and it does a good job at it. So let's bypass all the anatomy stuff. Let's jump into it. We're gonna work on this machine, all right? So there are a few other things we wanna look at. First thing, the range limiting device. This right here is an adjustable dial right here that will allow you to start off at whatever position you are able to get to as far as your knee range goes. There's also another adjustment right here, but this does not have a locking pin like the others do. This is going to be where the shin is placed upon. I'll explain that more in detail later. There is another adjustment here. This will be for the seat itself. That's an easy one to adjust as well. And then you actually have the weights themselves. Top one being 5-pound increments all the way up to 15. And then you got an actual pin at the bottom here with 20-pound increments. Now, if I don't have this pin in and I have this top dial at 0, once again, like I've said in other machines, we're at a 10-pound preset. It doesn't really mean it's 10 pounds. We haven't tested it. I don't know if it is for sure, but that's what we're told from the manufacturer. But for demonstration purposes, I am starting at 30 pounds. So let's go ahead and get inside here. I'm going to mention a few important things here, and the first one being where does the knee actually have to be? So let me get out of the way for a sec. This right here is what we call the axis of the machine. The axis is going to be where we need to actually work from, with the knee that is. All right, the axis is what everything revolves around as far as the range goes and the actual resistance goes for this exercise. Now, if I was way back here, that wasn't too professional, right? Disregard that. But let's say I was way back here, and I've seen people do this. They'll sit way in here, and they'll actually work from here thinking that this is going to be the greatest exercise in the world, and they're working their legs, and they actually feel something. Problem is, when you start loading it, man, oh man, that's going to put a lot of stress on the knees, and it's not going to be pleasant. There's a reason why this machine gets a bad reputation, and one of the main reasons is because folks just get into all kinds of crazy positions. I mean, even if I had this all the way up for myself, it places me in front of the axis, and that alone has some additional stress that is placed on the knee itself. So, not as bad as the last one, but still not great. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to bring this back one click for myself. I'll wedge myself into the seat and actually find where the lateral aspect of my knee, all right, it falls right in line with this, all right? It's like, I want to imagine this dead center in the knee, all right? That works. Now, my range limiting device, when I adjust this, I want to take a look at how much range I actually have in my knee. How much flexion do I have, right? That's basically flexing at the knee. Some folks don't have much range, and they may only be able to work from, let's say, a position like this. Or some folks actually might only have a little bit of range, right? So maybe that's all they got, which is a rare one to see, but that depends. I mean, you might have some knee discomfort, and maybe that's the only area where you can actually work from without pain. Maybe this small little motion. Doesn't mean you're not going to get work. You're just working at a different joint angle, that's all. But for the instances of a healthy knee, I'm going to say flex your knee, see how far you can go. This is all I have as far as the machine allows me, because I'm hitting this back pad. Now if I want to, maybe I can come forward a little more. kind of forcing the position. And there's nothing wrong with that. As long as, once again, I'm not really pulling in a position where I know that it's not going to be comfortable for the knee itself. So this is set, for me that is. That may depend on you. I'm going to adjust this right here. The reason I put it up here, and I'll explain this now, is that a lot of times folks will come here, leave it at the bottom, and get to work. And they won't even realize, actually just got a knee pop. So what ends up happening is, because of the distance, the resistance is down here, right? I mean, yes, it's back here, but what I'm feeling comes from down here. The distance from this and my knee is pretty far. If I draw this up, it's a lot closer now. A lot closer to the joint, which is going to allow the muscles to perform a little better. It may feel lighter being here, but it actually creates a lot less shear force through the actual knee structure itself. So what does that mean exactly? Well, I actually can increase the resistance, get the full benefit feeling the muscles what I need to feel without keeping this down here at the same weight and potentially creating more stress to the actual knee joint itself. So granted, there's reasons why some folks will prefer to keep down here. It's your personal choice, but I'm explaining as far as physics goes and lever arms go, you're best keeping it closer to the actual joint so that's less stress through the joint. Now, the other thing some folks have issues with is the sensitivity here, especially for some of the ladies. We do have little mats around. You can roll them up and tuck them in front of here, or you can bring your shin guards from home if you'd like. But this is your best spot as far as the safety of the joint goes. If it doesn't work for you, then come ask us. We'll find a way to modify it for you, all right? Help you out. Now, here's the other thing, another important one. We've made our adjustments already, all right? I've set my weight already. I have my knee joint angle. I've set position of the shin guard here. A back seat set. And the knee's in the right spot. Now, how do I extend at the knees, right? We think just kick straight up. But a lot of times, folks are built differently, right? They may sit down and the hips veer out. I mean, you see that a lot with people walking, right? So if I were to, and I know it's hard to see at this angle, but I'll explain it. You can see it with me. I veer out a little bit, which means my hips externally rotate. Okay, so if I kick straight up, like so, you're probably looking at my feet saying, oh yeah, the toes are out. That's one thing. But what ends up happening is my knee joint is now flexing and extending kind of at a lateral angle outwards, kind of diagonally, right? This thing only goes up and down. So force is always going to be up and down like this. It doesn't come at an angle like some of these other machines do. So if I do enough of this at a heavier weight, I might start feeling some discomfort through the medial part of my knee. Okay, because the force now is coming down actually through the medial part of my knee at this angle where I'm articulating that way. No good. So how do we fix that? If you do have that issue, you'll still feel the work. But once again, we're trying to provide the safest position for the joint itself. You have to respect your joints. Easy. I'll grab. I'll rotate it a little bit. All right? That doesn't mean bring the knees together. I see folks do that all the time. Just take a look down range and rotate the in just a little bit where you can actually see this run in a straight line. So as I come up, now I'm in line with the direction of force and bam, there it is. I feel this exactly where I need to, all right? I'm not getting any kind of deviations outwards. So disregard the feet, it's not important. Let's think about where the pad is at all the way up. Just like that, all right? Now, we have everything in place. As far as our adjustments go, position our body needs to be in. I'm gonna show you a nice little trick, especially for somebody that's new to the machine. Start up here. We're gonna do a nice little oscillatory action, all right? And this makes it easier because I can set the range limiting device to here where I don't need to work from down there, right? So what I'll do here is I'll actually make sure this is rotated in. I'm gonna extend up, I'm gonna hold. And when I say hold, I mean I really want you to have the ability to own the position. You can stay up here and not have any discomfort at all. Bring it down, find that end range, which for me is right about there. That's where I started it, right, based on my adjustment. And I'm back up, straight, feel the squeeze. Now, one of the big ones is a lot of times folks will not go through that full range all the way up. They'll kind of stop here partially, right? They won't feel it up through here. Notice that hip flexor I mentioned earlier, rectus femoris, which is from here down to the bottom of that knee there, the kneecap that is. Down, I'm already feeling a little bit of burn. This is at 30 pounds. A lot of times folks crank this thing up and they're using all kinds of momentum thinking like this is the only way you're gonna actually get a benefit of the exercise, and it's not. You just take your time with it, all right? Nice and slow motions, and then over time we can start increasing the tempo. And take a look, my hips, they just veered right back out. That's my anatomy, that's where I'm at. So I need to take that in consideration when I'm actually doing this so that I provide the best articulation of my joint relative to the machine itself. What I'm gonna do now is we're gonna go through a full set, short set, but I'm gonna flex my knee, and that's actually right there. That's about all I got. So bringing this to the top, placing pressure here, just enough because this will slide down if I don't. Gonna sit back, grab my handles here. Now, make sure you're not overextending the lower back here. You shouldn't be doing that. You wanna stay nice and situated up against this seat here. From this position, keeping the eyes gaze forward, we're gonna rotate those hips in a little bit, make sure we're in the right spot for the knees, and we're gonna extend up. So I've already, let's say, done my little oscillatory actions, right? A couple of those, I felt it. I already know what I'm working on. So when I come down, good control, full range, and all the way up. Squeeze and hold, down with control, take your time with it. All right, now, another thing, you'll hear it a lot from a lot of the trainers, stay somewhat active, right? Engage your core, whatever you want to say. Really, try to stay engaged here. Stay braced, okay? Because if I'm just slouching and doing this, you know, I'm not potentiating, creating enough force through the rest of my body to really lock things in. So, as I'm up, squeeze and hold, feel it, back down with control. You can do some pauses up top if you really want to feel that muscle working, or you can just focus on just a regular up and down motion going through your full range. Take your time with it, okay? If there's any discomfort in the knee, stop for a little bit, give it some rest, maybe make an adjustment, or reduce the weight. That might be another big thing, because a lot of times folks think, let's just bring this thing all the way up. So, that's about it. This is the Cybex leg extension. Recap real quickly. CAM, or RLD, range limiting device. We're gonna make adjustments based upon where we want or have the ability to flex the knee. Seat adjustment, we're setting it up where we're in line with the axis here, and that's gonna be lateral to the actual knee itself, not the kneecap, but the knee, the lateral aspect of the knee. Once we've adjusted this, CAM or RLD, we can bring this down, keeping this in the most upright position as long as it's not bruising you or creating any discomfort here, but it is the safest part for the actual knee position, or knee joint that is. Rotating the hips in before you actually launch. Once again, for the articulation of the joint. You have down range as far as weight resistances go, and that's it, all right? So hopefully this helps. It is a great piece of equipment, and it burns, all right? You'll learn to appreciate the burn. You'll actually feel it. It's one of those muscle groups where it's like, wow, it really talks to you. If you have any questions, come ask me, see if you can talk with one of the other trainers. We're here to help you guys out, and I hope you are able to get something beneficial out of this. Thank you, and have a great day. Take care now.